¿Mis competidores me están quitando tráfico?
To some, he's yet another student.
This walrus didn't get these dance moves on his own. They came from Cab Calloway, a 1930s jazz superstar and bandleader. Do you see it now? Cab was a source of endless inspiration for early animators who transformed his dancing into that walrus and a ghost and a very moonwalky old man of the mountain.
Old man of the mountain.
In spite of the Bible, the rules
way
for
these
living and
moves
life
got
in the
from real
Bible
life to
do not
cartoon
speak
was
to
a
nearly
breakthrough in
anything
technology
that we see
and
today.
method. It's
They,
an
in fact, mainly speak to people who lived, 2,000 to 3,000 years ago in the Middle East, and that only someone trying their absolute best to ignore all the things that we today find
The way these moves got from real life to cartoon was a breakthrough in technology and method. It's an idea that forever changed animation, when an inventor took pictures that had just started to move and made them dance. As riveting as that was, early animation had a problem. The first animated shorts didn't look right. Don't focus on the drawing. Look at the motion. See how clunky his arm move is here, and how his shoulder doesn't move realistically? Max Fleischer saw that problem too. This is him, the inventor, blowing bubbles in some of the first films that revolutionized animation. And this is the clown that did it. See how naturally Coco the Clown moves compared to the Umbrella Guy? That's where the invention called the rotoscope comes in. You can understand it from the patent application. It was a way to film real movement to create better animation. First, they filmed live-action motion in the wild. For Coco the Clown, they filmed Max's brother, Dave Fleischer, dancing around in a clown costume on Max's roof. He was in front of a white sheet, for contrast. The sheet actually blew around so much that Dave almost fell off the roof, so don't try this at home. That film gave them individual frames of Coco moving around. Like in the patent, they used a projector hooked up to a car headlamp to amp up brightness, and it showed each frame on a screen with tracing paper. Then they just played it back, frame by frame, tracing what they needed. It had the creativity of animation, but the precision of live action. The results were astonishingly smooth, and lots of people noticed. The New York Times said Coco, the Inkwell Man, leaps as a human being. And it made sense. He was one. Take Cab Calloway's performance. Now, animators didn't have to guess what subtle movements came in the middle. They had a filmed guide to every frame. Later, it helped out with Superman, using photos and film to model Lois, like here. Gulliver's Travels also had hyper-real movement, inspired by real motion. When the patent expired, other animation studios followed, but Fleischer's work was more than just one invention. Now, these cartoons and other ones at the time are filled with tons of cringy stereotypes that wouldn't pass muster today, but the creativity, that is not dated at all.
Here we go.
Fleischer Studios invented the bouncing ball song, where you can follow along with the lyrics. Oh yes, there's a patent. Max and Dave patented multi-plane animation as well. See how they could film the main character moving and separately move the background elements, like pictures and models. This created depth and saved animators time. It enabled gorgeous motion, like in this scene from Superman. As it evolved, Fleischer Animation mixed all these technologies with skilled artistry and improvisation. And that's why rotoscoping is a versatile tool still, whether it's inspiring some of the animation in early video games, or in its logical extension in motion capture, where real movements are given over to animators' fancy. But even that undersells their achievements a little. That Cab Calloway walrus cartoon, Minnie the Moocher, is a Betty Boop cartoon, but It is a work of art filled with infinite delights that tantalize. Scratch that. It is straight up weird. In the best way possible. Phones have lips, handkerchiefs talk, ghost skeletons get drunk, tonsils scream, the list goes on. When Cab Calloway saw himself turned into a dancing walrus, he fell to the floor laughing. An invention made that work, but it was a different type of genius that made Cab Calloway fall to the floor. You can patent a device, but you can't patent that. That's it for this episode.
Just how was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs created? And how are the famous Disney short films made? To give you the answer, we take you behind the closed doors of the famed Walt Disney Studio in Hollywood. Doors usually barred to all visitors. During the past 3 years, the studio staff has grown from less than 300 to more than 700 artists and musicians. They worked in shifts, night and day, to complete this unique experiment in entertainment. Remember as a kid how you made your own movies by drawing little figures on the pages of a pad and flipping the pages to make the figures move? That's the basic principle behind animated pictures today. But that's not all there is to it. First, you need a story. Thinking up funny stories is the job of Walt Disney's writers, gag men, and sketch artists. After much trial and error, several hundred rough drawings illustrating the high points of each story are completed. Let's follow the story into conference, where Walt Disney and his hard-boiled directors look it over. Not a picture, long or short, goes into production without Walt's personal okay. Next, a director whips the script and dialogue into final form. Then he calls in his assistants, including his musical composer, and plans the score of the picture, timing out each scene carefully. He even acts out every move of the action, so that the men who work with him can visualize what the scene will look like on the screen. Now he sets his expert animators to work, the skilled artists who draw every movement in complete detail, just as you will see it in the theater. Each animator's drawing board is lighted from below. He looks through the paper at the character he has previously outlined and draws the next movement in correct position. This clever animator is using a mirror to capture a tricky facial expression like this. Let's move along to the test camera department. Here the animator's rough drawings are photographed in sequence, one at a time. This film is developed and returned to the animator, who checks to see how good it is by running it in a small projection machine called a moviola. In this moviola, as the animator runs his film backward and forward, we catch a graceful glimpse of the screen's newest heroine, Snow White herself. Now we're in one of the studio projection rooms, where Walt and his staff study the rough animation of a sequence about the 7 lovable little dwarfs. Once they are okayed, the thousands of pencil drawings go to the inking department. Here, hundreds of pretty girls, in a comfortable building all their own, well lighted, air-conditioned throughout, cover the drawings with sheets of transparent celluloid. Then they painstakingly trace every line of every drawing in ink, following exactly in every detail the original animation drawings. Now the picture moves into its final stage, color. In the studio paint laboratory, all colors used are made up from secret formulas. Expert chemists develop more than 1,500 different shades of color for Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. The inked celluloids next go to the painting department, where more pretty girls apply the final colors on the back. Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs required 250,000 celluloids painted like this one. In another department of the big Disney studio, artists delicately paint the beautiful stage settings for the picture. These backgrounds are done in watercolor. Artists work for months on backgrounds like the interior of the 7 Dwarfs cottage. But the colossal task isn't finished even yet. The celluloids and backgrounds must still be photographed by the master camera in Technicolor. Here the operator puts a Donald Duck celluloid on top of a background as the overhead camera exposes one frame of film. To photograph Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, This operation had to be repeated more than 500,000 times. Next, the film passes into the hands of technicians, and the sound effects are recorded. Finally, a symphony orchestra records the musical score, the hit tunes that will thrill listeners the world over. Now comes a crucial moment, the picture's world premiere in Hollywood. Crowds flock to see an animation exhibit set up outside the theater.
Si necesitas aprender inglés, tienes que...
Just how was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs created? And how are the famous Disney short films made? To give you the answer, we take you behind the closed doors of the famed Walt Disney Studio in Hollywood. Doors usually barred to all visitors. During the past 3 years, the studio staff has grown from less than 300 to more than 700 artists and musicians. They worked in shifts, night and day, to complete this unique experiment in entertainment. Remember as a kid how you made your own movies by drawing little figures on the pages of a pad and flipping the pages to make the figures move? That's the basic principle behind animated pictures today. But that's not all there is to it. First, you need a story. Thinking up funny stories is the job of Walt Disney's writers, gag men, and sketch artists. After much trial and error, several hundred rough drawings illustrating the high points of each story are completed. Let's follow the story into conference, where Walt Disney and his hard-boiled directors look it over. Not a picture, long or short, goes into production without Walt's personal okay. Next, a director whips the script and dialogue into final form. Then he calls in his assistants, including his musical composer, and plans the score of the picture, timing out each scene carefully. He even acts out every move of the action, so that the men who work with him can visualize what the scene will look like on the screen. Now he sets his expert animators to work, the skilled artists who draw every movement in complete detail, just as you will see it in the theater. Each animator's drawing board is lighted from below. He looks through the paper at the character he has previously outlined and draws the next movement in correct position. This clever animator is using a mirror to capture a tricky facial expression like this.
Las relaciones internacionales son el conjunto de vínculos relacionados estrechamente con la política.
Nothing's moving when you're taking your pictures. The background's moving by? So how are you doing this? I was assuming that when you did the sequence, that the characters are sitting still with the camera on a tripod and you're sliding the whole set by.
It's the opposite.
The train, say with grommet on, for example, is attached to the camera and the camera's on rails. And every time we take a frame, the animator would move grommet, would then take the camera back and push it and take the frame at a certain point. We built a set of 20, 30 feet long, but it meant going at the speed we wanted to go, we would run out of set.
So when you'd be animating and you get to the end of your 30 feet of set, but the scene's not done, you just roll the characters all the way back to the beginning?
That's why we had foreground furniture whizzing by, because that gave a good kind of cutting point to jump back to the beginning again easily. So we had to find ways of repeating this. Like if a shot lasted more than a second and a half.
Is this the best survival game ever made?
This is the aircraft carrier shelter you seized, previously owned by a small...
Oldest movies ever recorded, 1874. The movie industry has seen top movies like James Cameron's Avatar and Marvel's Avengers make billions of dollars at the box office. It has been estimated that there are approximately 500,000 movies, or narrative fiction feature-length theatrical cinema films, in existence presently. Also, the video hosting software YouTube has over 800 million videos on its platform. These videos would take up to 9.36 billion minutes, or 17,810 years to view. Movies and videos in general make up a huge part of our lives, but how did it start? In this video, we'll take a look at some of the oldest videos ever recorded and glance at the lives of people who lived more than 100 years ago. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos. A Trip to New York City, 1911. This stunning visual experience captures the bustling city at the dawn of modernization. In the footage, the city comes alive with horse-drawn carriages and brand new automobiles sharing the same streets. The camera pans through crowds of people rushing to catch the latest news or glimpse the latest fashion trends. The footage also showcases the city's diverse population with different languages and cultures blending together. Iconic landmarks such as the Woolworth Building and the Flatiron Building are featured, symbols of the city's ambition and ingenuity. But the footage isn't just a fascinating time capsule, it also provides a chance to reflect on the past and present of one of the world's greatest cities. It's a reminder of the energy and vitality that has always defined New York City, and an opportunity to appreciate how far the city has come while honoring its rich history. London Olympic Games, 1908. The 1908 London Olympics. The black and white footage showcases various sports and events that took place during the games, from the opening ceremony to the athletes competing on the field. The video starts with a view of the Olympic Stadium, where athletes from all over the world gather for the opening ceremony. We see teams parading around the stadium, dressed in their national colors, and the crowd cheering them on. The footage then takes us through various events, including cycling, gymnastics, and athletics, where we witness the athleticism and skill of the athletes as they push themselves to their limits. We see them sprinting, jumping, and competing in events that are still a part of the modern Olympic Games today. One of the most captivating moments in the footage is the marathon, where we see Italian runner Dorando Pietri collapsing just before the finish line. The officials come to his aid, and we see him being helped to his feet and guided to the finish line, only to be disqualified for receiving assistance. A Trip Down Market Street, 1906. A Trip Down Market Street is a captivating 13-minute actuality film that takes you back in time to experience San Francisco as it was in April 1906, just days before the devastating earthquake and fire that shook the city. Shot from a streetcar, the footage captures the vibrant street scenes and the hustle and bustle of daily life in the city's main thoroughfare, Market Street. As you watch, you'll see horse-drawn carriages, vintage automobiles, and bustling crowds of people going about their day, providing a vivid glimpse into a bygone era. This rare glimpse of life before the disaster makes the footage even more valuable, adding to its allure and historical significance. Living Wigan, 1902. Living Wigan is a remarkable silent documentary film that captures the bustling street life of Wigan Town Centre in August 1902. Directed by James Kenyon and Sagar Mitchell, the film premiered at Wigan Town Hall during the King Edward VII coronation celebrations that same year. The film showcases a steam tram run by Wigan Corporation Tramways and offers a fascinating glimpse into everyday life in the city over a century ago. According to the BFI, the filmmakers created a fun and lively atmosphere, with the audience responding playfully to the camera and even splashing water at the crowd with a hosepipe for a comedic effect. Lumiere Brothers Film Night, 1895 to 1900. The Lumiere Brothers Film Night of 1895 to 1900 footage was a revolutionary event in the history of cinema. The Lumiere brothers, Auguste and Louis, were pioneers in the development of motion pictures, and their screening of a series of short films at the Grand Café in Paris was the first public exhibition of projected film. The films, shot in black and white, ranged from everyday scenes of people and animals to landmark events, such as the arrival of a train at a station. The audience was amazed by the moving images and the realistic quality of the films. This historic event paved the way for the future of cinema, and to this day, the Lumiere brothers films remain iconic examples of the medium's early days. A Trip Through Paris, France, 1890s. The footage from the late 1890s takes us on a mesmerizing journey through Paris, the city of love, light, and romance. This captivating video is a glimpse into the past, showing us the iconic landmarks of Paris as they stood over a century ago. The footage was captured by the Lumiere brothers, who used a hand-cranked camera to film these scenes. It showcases bustling streets, elegant buildings, horse-drawn carriages, and people going about their daily lives. It is like a time capsule that has preserved the essence of Paris in the late 1800s. We get to witness the grandeur of the Eiffel Tower, the majestic Notre Dame Cathedral, and the lively Champs-Élysées, among other landmarks. Early roller coaster, Britain, 1898. Certainly, the Switchback Railway was an early roller coaster that captivated audiences when it opened in 1884. The footage of the ride shows the wooden train-like carriages barreling down the track at high speeds, with riders gripping the safety bar. The coaster's design was simple, with riders being pulled up a hill by a cable and then released to coast down the other side, only to be hauled up the next hill by a second cable. Despite its simplicity, the Switchback Railway was a sensation and attracted huge crowds to Coney Island. The ride was so popular that it inspired the creation of many more roller coasters in the years to come. The footage of the Switchback Railway is a remarkable piece of history, allowing us to experience the thrill of an early roller coaster firsthand. Arrival of a two-stage train in France, 1897. The footage, L'arrivée d'un train, une gare de la Ciotat, is a groundbreaking short film that was released in 1896. This iconic piece of film history captures the arrival of a train at a station in La Ciotat, a small coastal town in southern France. What's so remarkable about this footage is how it uses the medium of film to create a powerful sense of realism. As the locomotive approaches the station, the speed and motion of the train give the illusion that it's heading straight toward the audience, causing some viewers to panic and run out of the way. It's a thrilling and unforgettable cinematic experience that continues to captivate audiences over a century later. Olympics, 1896. The world's oldest sports footage, capturing moments from the first modern Olympic Games held in Athens, Greece in 1896, has been discovered and restored by the International Olympic Committee. This remarkable footage found in the archives of the Museum of Olympia takes us back in time to witness the birth of modern sport as we know it today. We get to see the athletes competing in various events, including the 100-meter sprint and the marathon, with crowds cheering them on. Watching these early pioneers of the sport in action is a thrilling experience that truly transports us to a different era. This footage is not just a historical artifact, but a vivid reminder of the passion, courage, and determination that have always driven the Olympic movement. Lumiere workers leaving factory, 1895. The footage in the article captures a moment in history that forever changed the world of cinema. In 1895, the Lumiere brothers created a short film titled Workers Leaving the Lumiere Factory, which is widely considered to be one of the earliest motion pictures ever made. The film captures a group of workers leaving their factory at the end of a long day, and though the subject matter might seem mundane, it is a fascinating glimpse into the past. The footage provides a window into the Industrial Revolution and the lives of working-class people in the late 19th century. It's a time capsule of sorts, transporting viewers back in time to a world where the invention of motion pictures was still in its infancy. The grainy black and white footage adds to the charm and nostalgia of the film, and it's easy to see why it has stood the test of time. The footage shows the birth of cinema with this iconic piece of film history. The Roundhay Garden Scene, 1888. The footage captured in the Roundhay Garden Scene was shot by French inventor Louis Le Prince in 1888. It is considered to be the oldest surviving motion picture in history. The black and white footage, lasting only a few seconds, shows Le Prince's family members strolling around Roundhay Garden in Leeds, England, and enjoying a laugh together. This brief glimpse into the past is a precious and fascinating artifact, revealing the dress and manners of the time, and providing a rare window into the lives of those who lived over a century ago. The footage was shot using Le Prince's patented single-lens camera, which used perforated paper film to produce moving pictures, paving the way for the future of cinema. Despite its short duration, the Roundhay Garden Scene has left an indelible mark on film history and continues to captivate audiences to this day. Passage de Venus, 1874. In 1874, French astronomer Jules Janssen captured a groundbreaking series of photographs, the transit of Venus in front of the Sun. Using his photographic revolver, Janssen's images are considered the first example of chronophotography and marked the first time photography was used as the primary tool for astronomical observation. However, a study in 2005 revealed that all existing plates made with the photographic revolver were practice plates taken with a model, and none of the plates from the actual transit survived.